cannot, only owing to the process Harnell-Miatsnell, independently evolve further. Well then, owing to that change in the general functioning of the primordial common cosmic sacred law of Heptaparapashanoch, this totality of substances named being Tritoehari can, in the given case, evolve further from this state only with the help of forces coming from outside. That is why, in this case, if this totality of substances of being Protoehari does not receive foreign help from outside for its further evolution in the common presences of the beings, then both this totality and all the definite centers of gravity of the being Ansan Balyawazar crystallized up to it always involve back again into those definite cosmic crystallizations from which they began their evolution. For this help coming from outside, Great Nature in the given case most wisely adapted the inner organization of beings in such a manner that the substances which had to enter into the common presences of beings for the coating and feeding of their second being body Kesdjan, namely, that totality of cosmic substances which your favorites call air, might at the same time serve as just such a help coming from outside for the evolution of the substances of the first being food. The active elements which compose the second being food, or air, and which enter into the presences of beings also for evolution through this second being food, beginning from the nose of beings, gradually evolve with the cooperation of various processes of Harnell-Miatsnell of local character, and are also transmuted this time in the what are called lungs of beings into Protoehari, but into Protoehari called Astral Nomonian Protoehari. And then the substances of this Astral Nomonian Protoehari entering into the presences of beings for their own evolution, and having still in themselves, according to the sacred Heptaparapashanoch, all the possibilities of evolving from their centers of gravity by the process of Harnell-Miatsnell alone, mix with the totality of substances of the first being food, which have already evolved up to the third stopender of the sacred being Heptaparapashanoch, and further evolve together, and thus help these substances of the first being food to pass through the lower mechano-coinciding midnell in, and to be transmuted into other definite substances into being Tetartoehari. And the astral Nomonian Protoehari itself is transmuted into the substances named Astral Nomonian Defteroehari. At this point in my explanations, you can have one more clarifying example for a full understanding of the difference between autoegocrat and trogo-autoegocrat. That is, of the difference between the former maintaining system of the existence of the Son Absolute when that system was autoegocratic, and the other system, now called trogo-autoegocratic, which it became after the creation of the megalocosmos. If the transformation of substances through beings' apparatuses proceeded according to the law of the sacred Heptaparapashanoch, when certain of its stopenders were not yet changed, that is, as it still functioned before the creation of our now existing megalocosmos, then the cosmic substances composing the first being food, entering into such apparatuses, cosmoses, for the local process of evolution, would accomplish their ascent up to their completing transmutation into other higher definite active elements, without any obstacle, and without any help coming from outside, merely by the process of Harnel Miatznel alone. But now, since the independent functionings of this primordial sacred law has been changed into a dependent functioning, the evolution or involution of its changed stop-enders must always be dependent upon external, extraneously caused manifestations. In the given case, this extraneously caused help for the complete transmutation of cosmic crystallizations through beings into higher crystallizations is the second being food, which has entirely different causes of its arising, and which must actualize entirely different cosmic results. I will sometime later explain to you in detail how the transformation of substances of the second and third being foods proceeds in beings. But meanwhile, note only that these higher cosmic substances in beings are transformed according to exactly the same principles as the substances of the first being food. Now we shall continue to investigate just how, according to the sacred Heptaparapashanach, the further completing process of the transformation of substances of their first being food proceeds in the presences of being apparatuses. And so, the ordinary first being food is thus gradually transmuted in beings into definite substances called being tetartoehari, which have in beings, just as of course in your favorites, as the central place of their concentration, both of what are called the hemispheres of their head brain. Further, a part of this being tetartoehari, from both hemispheres of their head brain, goes unchanged to serve the planetary body of the given being. But the other part, having in itself all the possibilities for independent evolution, continues to evolve without any help coming from outside, and mixing again, by means of the process Harnel Miatznel, with previously formed higher substances already present in the beings, it is gradually transmuted into still higher, definite being active elements called Pianjoehari, and these substances have as the central place of their concentration in beings the what is called Cyanurana, or as your favorites call this part of their planetary body, the cerebellum, which in beings is also located in the head. Just these same substances in beings, according to the fifth deflection of the sacred Heptaparapashanach, have the free possibility of giving, in the manifestations of the common presences of three-brained beings, results not similar, but opposite to each other. That is why, in respect of these being substances, the beings themselves must always be very, very much on their guard in order to avoid undesirable consequences for their entire whole. From the cerebellum of beings, a part of these definite substances also goes to serve the planetary body itself. But the other part, passing in a particular way through the nerve nodes of the spine and the breast, is concentrated in the beings of the male sex, in what are called testicles, and in the beings of the female sex, in what most of your favorites call ovaries, which are the place of concentration in the common presences of beings of the being Exioehari, which is for the beings themselves their most sacred possession. You should know that this particular way mentioned is called Ternulva. Only after this are the cosmic substances which enter being apparatuses for the purpose of evolution, that is, for the possibility of passing the lower midnel-in of the fundamental common cosmic exchange of substances, transformed into that definite totality of cosmic substances, which transformation is the lot of all beings in general, and also of your contemporary three-brained beings who breed on the planet Earth in particular, for the automatic justification of the sense and aim of their existence. And this totality of cosmic substances is everywhere called exioehari. And so, my boy, this totality of their first being food, which results from the evolution in these beings, Appa,